Hello, I am Joel McLeod.
And I'm Roland Tanner.
And welcome to the 905. On March 19th, the Playhouse Cinema in Hamilton shocked patrons and Hamiltonians by abruptly announcing that it would postpone the Hamilton Jewish Film Festival, originally slated for April. The reasoning at the time was that the owners of this independent cinema were concerned after receiving, quote, numerous security and safety-related emails, phone calls, and social media messages. The news arrived out of the blue to everyone who heard it, especially the Hamilton Jewish Federation, the organizers of the film festival. We had spoken with them only a few episodes ago about the rise of anti-Semitism in Hamilton and the 905 in general, and this story seems to be an example of just that. Now, to be clear, we are not accusing the Playhouse Cinema of anti-Semitism. Before this episode, we did reach out to them for comments and to clarify several things, but they never responded. However, the fact remains that a non-political cultural art event was cancelled because of the culture being celebrated. This film festival was under heightened scrutiny by the venue because Jewish films were being showcased. The event was cancelled because it was a Jewish film festival, and the Playhouse has concerns about a theoretical event that may or may not occur. We wanted to hear from the organizers of the festival, the Hamilton Jewish Federation, about their side of the story. And to that end, we are welcoming back to the podcast Jazmyn Rymberg of the Federation. Now, a quick positive note for our listeners, though. Quickly after we recorded this episode, the Federation announced that a replacement venue had been finalized for the film festival. The Hamilton Jewish Film Festival will be held at the Peller Hall Ancaster Memorial Arts Center at 357 Wilson Street East in Ancaster on April 7th to 9th. A link to the website is in our show notes.
You looking to make the most out of this life and optimize your personal wellness? Then check out the Natural Man Podcast. Join me, host Mike C., as we explore all areas of human wellness, physical, mental, and emotional. Learn strategies to optimize your own well-being and be in the driver's seat of your own health. Remember, your doctor works for you. Learn biohacks, neurohacks, ways to improve sleep, and ways to optimize your body and your mind. Check us out on Apple, Spotify, the Fountain app, and at naturalmanpodcast.com.
Welcome back, Jazmyn Rymberg from the and I'm going to get this wrong, Hamilton Jewish Federation, and talking about the Hamilton Jewish Film Festival. We spoke to you seems like just a couple of weeks ago, really, about the issue of the rise of anti-Semitism in the region, and here we are talking about it unexpectedly, I guess, but somewhat depressingly closer to home in Hamilton, and the theatre in question is phrasing it as a postponement, but it feels very much like a cancellation of the Hamilton Jewish Film Festival that was announced by them last week. Could you maybe just start off for us by kind of giving us an outline of what happened and the justification that was made for it?
Yes. Well, first of all, thanks for having me again. It's great to talk to you guys. So some background information on what happened. Last weekend, we received some emails from the Playhouse Cinema owner saying that he was getting some emails saying, how dare you have this Hamilton Jewish Film Festival, and how dare you masquerade around as a Jewish film festival when it's really just Zionist propaganda. I saw those letters. I did not see any threat to his security. And if security was a concern, then let's take security measures. We take security measures very seriously for all of our events. It's also our understanding that he was in contact with Hamilton Police Services, as were we. We always are. We have to be. We don't have a choice. However, I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, to hear if this is true, if the Hamilton police advised him to cancel the Jewish Film Festival, because not once since October 7th or before that did the police advise us to cancel any of our events for security reasons. If security is a concern, which it is, we always have police presence at our events. We have to.
On that note, I guess this is a good time to bring this up. So prior to this recording, I did reach out to both the Playhouse Cinema and to Hamilton Police to understand what was going on here a bit better. We reached out to the Playhouse Cinema. They did not respond back to our inquiries. Hamilton Police did, and when I asked them basically like, what is there a case open? There's an investigation open into this? What was the nature of the threats that they saw? Their response was that they learned about the threats from the Playhouse Cinema on Wednesday, March 20th, which was the day after the statement was posted to their website, saying that they were postponing this film festival. I'm curious, have you been in touch with Hamilton Police? Have they contacted your organization to say, no, we need to move ahead with this, or to open an investigation into anything? Have you been in touch with Hamilton Police on this any further than what we've heard so far?
We've been in touch with them because so while the Playhouse decided to cancel the festival, which by the way was not theirs to cancel, their statement was apologizing to ticket holders, which I found deeply confusing. I think we all did here at Federation, because ticket sales were never done by them. It was through us. So I'm not sure where the apology was coming from. We were in touch with police because, like I mentioned just now, we booked them. We booked police presence for the film festival.
Okay.
And we had them booked. We actually just had to cancel that because, we have to pay for it out of our own pocket. So we canceled it. And we're definitely going to rebook them once we have the venue and the new dates. But no, the police did not tell us we have to cancel this festival. It's for your own safety.
So just jump in there, Joel, a second. So does your sort of chronology of event there tally with what the police said, that they didn't hear anything about these security related, not threats of violence, but threats of other ill-defined things until the day after the theatre had announced the cancellation?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat your question?
So the police are saying they didn't hear anything until the day after, and I thought you just said that the theatre and you had been in touch with the police before.
Well, we were, because we always book police for our events, but we didn't book them because we were getting threats. We just booked them preemptively. Okay. We always do.
So yes. They may. I just wanted to check and see if the police were sort of telling the correct version of events there.
I'm sure they were. We always have them booked. They knew we were having this event. Okay. They never told us to cancel it.
Yeah. On that note, so just before coming on to record this, I went to the Playhouse Cinema's website, and they have an updated statement that they published yesterday on March 24th. Okay. I'm going to read it to you, and I'd like to get your response to it. So this is directly from their website. Clarification regarding our original statement on the postponement of the Hamilton Jewish Film Festival. The postponement of this theater rental was due to high tensions surrounding current events in Gaza and our own security concerns as a small business that serves the public. To be clear, at no time did we state that we had received threats of violence related to hosting the Hamilton Jewish Film Festival, nor did we at any time receive any threats of violence prior to our decision to postpone it. As we originally stated, we received safety and security concerned messages that we as a community-based business and employer are obligated to take seriously, regardless of their nature. We repeat, these messages were not threats of violence. We are a small family-owned business that operates an independent movie theater in the neighborhood where we live. We meant no harm in our decision to postpone this rental. What's your response to that?
I would like to see what would happen if this were any other minority that had their film festival canceled.
I mean, that's a good point right there. And I mean, I'm reluctant to say to anybody that employers and so on and legal situations exist, that there are threats. You are obligated to always persist with something. But I'm going to say this seemed very cowardly to me that the nature of the so-called, I mean, the phrase they used was security. They said they're trying to have it both ways here. It's like, it's not a threat, but it was a threat. Well, which was it? I mean, so a very minor threat then? Well, in that case, what are you canceling? It seems like cowardice to me, if I'm brutally frank about it.
No, I completely agree. It is completely cowardly. Saying security concerns, I mean, we've seen this all over the world, people canceling Jewish cultural events due to security concerns. It's basically the new no Jews allowed. That's it. People are uncomfortable with us celebrating our culture. Where are we now as a society?
And to be clear, a few people. I looked at the lineup for the festival a few weeks ago, and I couldn't see anything. I haven't sort of refreshed my memory since. I could see anything that could possibly be described as Zionist propaganda, even if that were of necessity something that is disallowed in our society, which I don't believe it actually is. But the films are about. Some are about life in Israel. Some are just about Jewish society in general in the rest of the world. But I guess there's always this insistence, isn't there, that anything Jewish is Israeli, is Zionist. Therefore, you're not allowed to talk. I mean, this is how people are silenced, and it's very disturbing to me that people cannot separate. Cannot separate the issue of Jewish community, racially Jewish and religiously Jewish, and the issue of Middle Eastern conflict, Israel and Palestine. I feel like we're retreading what we've already said here, but I mean, it's disturbing, isn't it? And what can we do to counter it?
I don't know. Listen, what we can do is, first of all, I don't think these people that wrote these letters actually watched the films. Okay, the films talk about a whole spectrum of the contemporary Jewish experience. And I think Zionist has become this really dirty word in the past few years. It's become like almost a slur. I personally own it. I am a Zionist. I am proud to be one. And we can't really deny this connection between Jews and the land of Israel. We can't. It's there. So yeah, films in a Jewish film festival will probably talk about Israel and people living in Israel, life in Israel. But that doesn't necessarily make it a political film. It's part of our heritage.
And again, the parallels, I almost feel it's almost insulting to make the parallels. But if there was a Muslim film festival about or a film about people who are racially Arabic, you would not inherently object that there was a film about the Taliban, or you would see that as part of the global picture. You don't want to associate all Muslims with the Taliban. We kind of learned that the worst kind of racists are the people who make that connection. So why can we not understand it's the worst kind of racists who think all Jews are associated in this way?
All Jews are Netanyahu. Like, that is the most ridiculous claim that you could ever have. Jews here in Canada are as responsible for the actions of Israeli government as a Chinese, as a group of Chinese people is for the actions of their government, of the government in China, rather. So it's just a complete double standard. It's a complete double standard. And Jews are constantly held in this. Yes.
I want to go back to something that you said earlier. And, if we take the Hamilton Jewish Film Festival and replace Jewish with LGBTQ or Islamic or Black Canadian Film Festival, what does it say that what's the precedent that sets that groups, maybe not directly but indirectly, can cancel a cultural film festival, something that's supposed to celebrate your culture through art, through film, through and just a celebration of who you are? Should other groups be taking notice of this and saying, well, if they can cancel a Jewish film festival, what's the next What's this precedent for a pride parade or an event that we want to hold on our own?
I mean, we've heard so many people say this: what starts with Jews doesn't end with Jews. So it's a matter of, well, who's next? What are they going to cancel next?
Well, I think that's important to point out that we talk about anti-Semitism, that, the idea of part of that's the politeness of Canadian culture, that we picture anti-Semitism as like, well, no, you have to have the swastika on your jacket, and that's, yeah, it has to be blatant in your face, and it's not. It's more subtle to that. It's that polite. I don't really want to cause any problems. I don't want to upset anyone. So, can you just kind of stay in your lane and stay over here away from everyone, because I don't want to upset anyone. And that's what this leads to, is that when a cultural group wants to celebrate who they are openly and publicly and not harm anyone. I mean, it's a film festival. It's not a there's nothing wrong with it.
No, there isn't. It's pretty innocent compared to the protests we've seen that call for violence.
Exactly.
Long live the resistance, with a picture of an AK-47 on a banner.
Well,
we wanted to celebrate our culture. We weren't attacking anyone with this.
And it should be, I didn't write a question on this, but I think you just brought it up. I've seen flyers going around on social media of pro-Palestinian groups wanting to interrupt Purim events or gatherings, and by bringing noisemakers, which is incredibly disrespectful. I mean, that's something that is just, I really do think it's crossing a line from any legitimate political discussion in a democracy into, you're actually trying to disrupt a religious ceremony that is very meaningful to community and to individuals and to families. And it's just, this is where does this stop? And the answer is, I don't think it does. It doesn't stop at a happy place.
Listen, I think we saw, if you're referring to the Palestinian march in Toronto yesterday, is that you're referring to? Yeah.
That's what I saw. And I saw this flyer being shared around on social media, and it was quite,
they refer to it as a family-friendly event. Noisemakers. It's Purim. So I don't know if you know, but in Purim, when you read the story of Purim, and every time they say Haman's name, the man who wanted to kill all the Jews, you bring a noisemaker and you yell, and it's it's supposed to be, we make fun of it at that point. Like, we have fun with it. But yeah, so I think their whole flyer had something that said, I have the flyer in front of me right now. Jews say no to genocide. I think that's incredibly irresponsible. And if you think that that's excusable because you have that little banner on your flyer, then I think you need other Jews to talk to who will have very differing opinions on that. Another thing, bringing the noisemakers, I can't imagine any Jewish group, making a mockery out of their side with any other piece of cultural value. I think we can say that is cultural appropriation by taking one aspect of a culture and using it for your own personal interests.
I can imagine the noisemakers wouldn't be there to participate in what's going on. It'd be there to drown out any peaceful, it'd just be there to annoy and to drive people away.
Exactly.
Are you concerned about any other businesses in Hamilton looking at what happened with the Playhouse Cinema and now saying, well, I want to shy away from doing business with either the Federation or maybe just other prominent Jewish businesses in Hamilton?
Look, I don't know. But what I will say is, just as much as we've had horrible backlash from all this, from people who are for some reason against a Jewish cultural event, we have had so much support from businesses and individuals who stepped up and offered their spaces to hold the film festival. And I'm going to name drop someone.
You elaborate a bit on that?
We announced it the other day. The statement came out last week, and we've had local businesses who said, hey, my space isn't as big as a theater, but we can make it work. We're happy to help you have your film festival here. You guys need to have your film festival. We had a theater in Oakville who offered their space to host it. Again, they stepped up and they they were true allies. We've had people offering their own personal like projector equipment. They're like, anything we can do to help, please let me know. We've had very vocal allies, non-Jewish allies speaking up and saying how outrageous this is.
It's good to hear. And it's the most disturbing part of this, I feel, is I was looking at it as a comment by, I think it's Jesse Brown from Canada Land, who's Jewish and has been one of the people sort of commenting frequently about what he feels is the rise of anti-Semitism. And it's like, I can't say anything here without immediately getting people replying in my comments saying, well, stop killing Palestinian babies then. It wasn't actually the first reply, but I think maybe the second or third reply was, well, stop killing Palestinian babies. And it's like, this is a Canadian living in Canada who is racially Jewish, probably an atheist for all I know, has no association whatsoever with Israel other than that they are Jewish. And that was just the beginning, that wasn't even the worst comment. The feeling is that this is coming from people who in any other context would be moderate, reasonable, anti-racists, people who would not, when there is a terrorist atrocity by other groups, immediately assume that all people who share that faith or race are also terrorists or also whatever. And the most disturbing thing for me is the it seems like people I would consider in every other walk of life to be fairly moderate, left-wing, progressive, not the kind of traditional picture of the anti-Semite that we have of, this is a far-right thing. That's the scariest thing, and the feeling that I know it's almost a cliche for you to have to answer some kind of question about the Holocaust. I'm sure. I apologize for that, but the lessons of the Holocaust, it's only a lifetime ago. There are still people alive who lived during that time, who lived through the Holocaust, and we've already forgotten it. I find beyond belief. But I don't know if there's anything you can say there that you haven't already said a million times.
Let me just gather my thoughts here. It's like really intense. But we're currently in the middle of, we're about to open our Holocaust Learning and Jewish Advocacy Center. And I've been talking to some local Hamilton survivors. And one of them a few months ago told me this is Germany 1938. And I didn't take that lightly. I took it very seriously. And with this whole thing with the film festival, I just kept having a flashback to that moment when he told me that.
Well, I'm really pleased to hear that there are many people who are coming forward and standing up, and beyond just people of Jewish faith who live in Hamilton. I'm really glad to hear that. I think that's really encouraging. And anybody who's listening to this who somehow feels that we're being like too pro-Jewish or too pro-Israeli or something, please just ask yourself the question: are you really managing to differentiate, things that are valid opinions about a place in the world from, but just racism, anti-Semitism, connecting political opinions with opinions about race that are disgusting.
I just want to ask you just mentioned something there, Jazmyn, that made me raise a question. You mentioned how there are Holocaust survivors who are saying that this is 1938 Germany again. And I'm wondering, I want to tie that back to your statement about how after this cancellation by the Playhouse Cinema, you had so many allies and non-Jewish businesses and people coming forward to say, no, this is wrong. This needs to go forward one way or another. What does that action mean to the Jewish community? That small action of just saying, no, I'll find you a backyard and a projector if it needs to happen. But you will have your film festival one way or another. What does that action mean to you?
Listen, it was very emotional to have that kind of outpour. But we made a statement on Friday, and we said, while history is repeating itself in a negative way, we must also realize that it's repeating itself in a positive aspect. People back then, during the Holocaust, risked their lives to save their Jewish neighbors. While right now it's not as, as intense, like the repercussions wouldn't be as intense, people are stepping up and standing up for their Jewish neighbors. And that's what means the most. And it's just those actions, just those kind messages, offering your restaurant, offering your movie theater, offering your home, offering equipment, anything that you can do to help. We recognize that. We know those people, and we have to try to focus on the positive in this very negative time. And that's what we're trying to do here.
I guess in the darkness, that little flicker of light always shines the brightest.
Exactly.
In light of everything that's going on in the last week, maybe this is not in your power to state, but I'll ask anyways, will the Hamilton Jewish Federation work with the Playhouse Cinema again in light of the last week?
I can't say, honestly. We don't know. Who knows? We're open to having a responsible dialogue with anyone.
And have you guys had an ongoing dialogue with the cinema since they've canceled the event? I mean, we on their website they're saying this is just a postponement, but I don't know how you can postpone it if you're already moving on to looking at other venues and looking at other ways to have it. This doesn't sound like a postponement to me. Usually it's a dialogue that creates a postponement.
Exactly. You made a really good point there. A postponement would indicate you have new dates in mind, and there was no conversation about new dates or times.
This sounds like it was a very unilateral decision by the Playhouse Cinema, and I find that struggling. Is that how can they say that they want to be a partner with your community and your federation, but yet they can't say I think it would be very reasonable for them to come in and say, we're getting these concerns, these emails. What can we do? But I want you to be safe. I want my property to be safe. What do we do moving forward? And you're telling, basically we're sharing that none of this conversation has happened. They made this unilaterally.
That's correct. We never had the opportunity to have a conversation. And I will also think it's really important to add here that when we looked for a venue for the film festival, we were very transparent about what this event was. We knew we were not blind to the fact that this was a very heated climate politically. Okay. So we told the owner, these are the films we're going to be showing. This is the event. Are you going to have a problem with that? He said, no, come on in. And we felt, oh my gosh, someone is welcoming us. That feeling that we have just now when people were offering up their spaces. It was right. We were having a great relationship up until that point.
No, I mean, I do want to raise, I mean, it's only fair that previously this event was held at the Westdale. And there was one of the things that's been raised is like, well, you guys left the Westdale and there was allegations, and I don't know the truth of it at all, that was because of an objection to a what was perceived as an anti-Israeli film that was shown at the Westdale. I mean, is that an accurate portrayal of what happened? And I mean, is there sort of like regret that he didn't just stick with the Westdale and think maybe they would have been better at not kind of quitting at the first sign of trouble?
We have no regrets on that decision, but I also think it's really important to clarify what happened there is that we never asked them to cancel that. We said, hey, right now it's not the best time to have this kind of screening going on. Could you postpone it? They agreed. The board agreed to postpone it. So we were like, great. Okay, you're going to postpone it. We had a conversation about that. And then kind of overnight, they decided we're actually going to go ahead with the screening. And we just felt that was a betrayal and we pulled out. That was it.
And I mean, I guess for listeners, I mean, what's the distinction here from your point of view of being happy about that film being shown versus other people being unhappy with Jewish films being shown at the Playhouse?
Well, first of all, that film, Israelism, would have just caused huge, I think it would just been it would have just inflamed an already very difficult situation for the Jewish people in Hamilton. It's not easy here, as we can see. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for us, we were showing cultural films celebrating different aspects of Jewish life, not just in Israel, it's not a political event. That event was political, and it was clearly trying to incite harm on the Jewish community in Hamilton.
I'll just,
and we also didn't get them to cancel it. We never expected them to cancel it. We just said, hey, do this a little later, not right now. It was too fresh.
My just to sort of chip in with my understanding, that there was a film that was specifically about the conflict and taking a particular sided view of the conflict. I don't know more than that, I have to say, but that was what I did pick up. And as I said, I did check out the Jewish Film Festival, and there was nothing there that leapt out of me as really being about the conflict. It was about Jewish life. Yes, life in Israel was amongst those things, but that is not about the conflict. That's a different thing. I think it was like a hairdresser's boutique or something like that.
Give a quick synopsis for the listeners. So we had a film called Man in the Basement, and it's about Holocaust denial, prevalent, I think. One about, the hair salon, the shampooing women's hair in a hair salon in an Arab Christian community in Jerusalem, in Israel, and another one about communist era Poland, another one about a shelter for at-risk youth in Israel. So we had a ton of different stories, and we had a commemorative screening of a film by a director who was killed in the October 7th massacres. I just don't see how that is political.
It's something to be said about, I guess, it's getting a little bit off topic, the power of art, and that art reflects back our humanity and all its beautifulness and ugliness at the same time. And that, and the importance of these things to not just the Jewish community, but other communities, LGBTQ, Black community, Islamic community, and the importance of these events to be able to sit down and kind of look at oneself in the mirror and say, okay, this is who we are, and this is what we have to be proud of. And this is, and also it's a chance, honestly, I've always found it's a chance for people to be invited in, for people outside the community to come in and say, this is who we are. This is what we're about, and all of our complexity and the joys and lows and all of that. This is who we are, kind of nakedly and exposed. And there's something to be said about just not about shying away from that in a quite frankly a cowardly act. I know we're getting up on our time limit here, but your plans are to move ahead with this film festival one way or another. Is that correct?
Absolutely. 110%. We are moving forward with this, and I would love to see you both there.
Send us the dates and times. We'll be there. Make sure the popcorn's hot and fresh, and we'll find a seat in the back, not to take up the front row, because
it'll be great.
But I'm sure it will be. Thank you very much, Jazmyn, for coming on again. All the best for the film festival when it does come out, and hopefully let us know. We'll let our listeners know as well where and when they can purchase tickets.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Kids, I'm your eager beaver.
And I'm Mr. Grizzly.
If you love politics
or hate politics,
then have we the perfect podcast for you.
The True North Eager Beaver.
Incisive political commentary.
We keep you up to date
and give you the political and media literacy you seek
to help you
cut through the bovine fecal matter.
Facts first.
Sound analysis.
Sometimes I growl.
Sometimes I sass.
We impart civics and build community.
And we share some laughs along the way.
Being informed
and engaged has never been more fabulous.
Or sexy. Catch us on the Dean Blundell Network or on our YouTube channel
or wherever you get your podcasts.
Because democracy is something you do.
That's it for this episode of the 905er. Thank you for listening. As always, you can send us your feedback, thoughts, and concerns or ideas for future episodes to our email, info@905er.ca. We'd love to hear from you. You can help us keep the 905er going by financially supporting us through Patreon as well as PayPal. Visit us at 905er.ca and click on the support tab. As well, links are in the show notes for your convenience. Lastly, you can find us on social media. Search for _905er on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So long for now. See you next time.
Hi, this is Candace Sampson, the voice behind What She Said. My show is your destination for stories that not only entertain, but also educate and empower. Every week, I spotlight strong female voices from across Canada, women who are changing the narrative and driving change. Don't miss out on these inspiring episodes. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and Amazon Music, or head over to whatshesaidtalk.com.
What She Said can also be heard on blasttheradio.com, Mondays at 5 p.m. and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. That's blasttheradio.com.
It's time to dive into the stories that truly matter.